Yeah, for sure. All right, let's go to edge defender. Let's talk about the starters first here. Rashan Gary at left defensive end. Lucas Van Ness at right defensive end. And then backing up Gary, they've got our boy Baron Sorrell. I think he's going to be a good NFL player, man. I really do. I think as excited as I was for Kingsley Enagbare, who just happens to be backing up Lucas Van Ness here, I think Baron Sorrell is coming into the league with a lot more to work with than Kingsley Enagbare had. I think Baron Sorrell is way better against the run than Kingsley was coming out of college. Kingsley just got that frame, man. He's built like a freak edge rusher. But Baron Sorrell is he's a lot thicker, and I think he's someone who can definitely play the run better than Kingsley. So, again, those are your top four there. Rashan Gary, Lucas Van Ness, backing them up, Baron Sorrell, and our boy Kingsley Enagbare. Behind that, you've got Brenton Cox Jr., and then behind Kingsley Enagbare, you've got Colin Oliver. And then you've got Aaron Mosby, who's seen a significant amount of time on the 53, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, last year.
He was active several times, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And then you got Deslin Alexander and Jeremiah Martin kind of rounding that out. I believe we all agree those two guys that if they make it, it's going to be on the practice squad. So with that being said, Brenton Cox Jr., 13% pressure rate last year, right? To me, outside of Rashan Gary, now Lucas Van Ness, many people don't know this, but the second half of the season, Lucas Van Ness really started to amp it up. If he builds off that second half of the season, I would not be surprised at all if Lucas Van Ness has his best year yet this year and just comes out and it's like, okay, we got us a solid edge defender opposite Rashan Gary. I'm expecting that personally. But in terms of the depth, I feel a lot better about the depth here with Brenton Cox Jr. and Colin Oliver backing up those. I mean, we're 6 deep at edge as opposed to tackle. We were like, what do you think?
We took 6 last year, right? We broke camp with 6 edge defenders.
That's correct.
So Aaron Mosby fighting for that final spot, probably, I would think, between, probably Colin Oliver, right?
Mm-hmm. So we broke camp with 6. They were Preston Smith, Rashan Gary, Lucas Van Ness, Kingsley Enagbare, Brenton Cox Jr., and Aaron Mosby. So you're replacing Preston Smith, essentially, which we had already replaced him at the end of the year.
Yeah.
With Aaron Mosby, essentially. But you replace Preston Smith with our boy Baron Sorrell. And now it comes down to, do you keep Colin Oliver over Aaron Mosby? My answer would probably be yes, right? So now the question becomes, do you carry 7? I think it's no. And you just stash Aaron Mosby on the practice squad.
Practice squad, yeah.
Yeah.
He'd be relatively safe, right? There's a chance he could get signed, but there's a chance he could stick around too.
Yeah, definitely. I see Greg was asking Clay, how many pressures did LVN get in the second half? I don't know the exact number. I know Ryan did a significant breakdown on it because he was tired of hearing people complain about it. And LVN, his pressure rate was, I want to say it was 14, almost 15% in the second half of the season, something like that, which you guys know, if you get above 10%, it's okay. That's a solid pressure rate. I think Gary finished in the 13s. Brenton Cox Jr. was almost a 14. And when LVN really cranked it up, obviously, and he played with a broken thumb too. And I know there's some people that kind of roll their eyes at that. When you're an edge rusher and you got a broken thumb, good luck using your hands, buddy. So they even had him line up on the opposite side that he's natural to, because it would cater a little more to protecting that hand as he rushed the quarterback. So off of that opposite side. And thank God you had somebody like Rashan Gary who could move around. And of course, Brenton Cox Jr. coming in and spelling him from time to time. If I remember correctly, what I remember, Tim, and keep in mind these left and rights are from the defense's perspective. It seemed like Gary lined up on the left and our boy Lucas Van Ness lined up on the right. And when Lucas Van Ness would come out of the game, they would kick Gary over to the right and bring Brenton Cox Jr. in to the left side, if I remember correctly. So this year, Baron Sorrell, man, if you get in a position where he comes out here and has a pressure rate of 12, 13% and is very effective in the run game, man, that's I think you're going to be in a lot better position moving forward, because then you can have that conversation about both Lucas Van Ness and Rashan Gary. Listen, if Rashan Gary, if he declines this year, right, even with the new defensive line coach and everything, then we can have the conversation of, is he falling off here? Because everything he did last year, in my opinion, I was satisfied with. That's why I got so frustrated last year hearing people run his name through the mud. It's like, this dude is your best run defender on the defensive line, and he's your best pass rusher, and people are ready to run him out of town.
Yeah.
So if Lucas Van Ness takes that step, though, and Rashan Gary kind of gets back to his old form, and both of them being in their second year in Hafley's scheme, and Baron Sorrell comes in kind of like Rashan Gary when he was backing up Preston Smith and Zadarius Smith, you got to feel really good about this edge room. So I'm excited to see how that all unfolds. You get anything else you'd like to add to the edge room there, Tim? Anything at all?
No, I agree with that point you made about, essentially, 1 year removed here from the departure of Preston Smith. You're basically replacing him with Baron Sorrell. So, I mean, feel really good about the edge room right there. And again, we talk about the camp battles and what camp's going to look like. It's going to look highly competitive at multiple position groups on both sides of the ball. And I think that's the recipe for building a good football team every year, is you have a competitive camp. You have guys that are going to make the team. You have your veterans that are protected. Obviously, everyone knows that. But everybody else, other than that small handful of those guys, everybody else has got to fight for their job. And it's going to make for an interesting camp for sure.
Yeah. Holmes MD1 says, I don't get the Kenny or Rashan hate. They were third against the run in DVOA. I didn't even know that. That's wild. I know they were second against the run in terms of yards per carry allowed. He said you can rarely do everything elite. And that's the thing that I think many people don't want to take into consideration is like, you could take one aspect of an offense away, but you're vulnerable in the other. Like you can key in and take the run away. Yeah, you can load the box with 10 people if you wanted to. They're just going
and then they're just going to throw it over the top on you.
Right. And then you can, go out there and say, all right, we're going to play back, play shell and prevent the big play.
And they'll just run the ball right through your face.
Bingo. So the goal is, where do you find that happy medium, and where do you find a scheme that fits your personnel? And that's the thing that Hafley did so well. It's amazing how many people thought they were manufacturing pass rush last year. Like, he had to send more than he needed to. And it's like, once again, you're not watching the tape, because the large majority of the time they only rush 4. You're just seeing a cornerback blitz out of the slot, and you're not even noticing Kingsley Enagbare dropping out, and they're really just bringing 4. Or you're just noticing that scrape blitz from Edger and Cooper, and you're not seeing Enagbare dropping back, or Mosby dropping back, or Brenton Cox Jr. dropping back. It's like,
take your eye off the ball when you're watching these games.
So it's the only way to truly understand it. It really is. So I keep hearing people say that on the radio, and I'm like, God almighty, it makes my head hurt. I'm like, you guys are making it sound like it was damn Buddy Ryan out there with the 46 defense. Like, what are we even talking about? Like, they were not blitzing 6. You guys, they were making it sound like they were firing 6 70% of the time. Like, what are we even doing here? So anyway, I don't get the hate either their homes, but people are going to fan how they want to fan. And all you can do is just try to watch the tape and point out to people, well, now look, here's what's actually happening, or here's how I see it. Try to do it in a not so rude way, because I definitely do not have this whole thing figured out. So I'm learning every day and trying to get a little bit better at understanding what Hafley's trying to do with the defense. Another thing, I'm really proud of the way we covered Hafley as a group, and even the listeners here in the chat as well. When he came in the league, how many people in the media were going, they're going to a man-heavy scheme, and this is what everybody wanted, the press man. And I'm looking up going, boys, they're not going to play predominant man coverage. And we talked about it over and over and over, and then everybody just acted all of a sudden surprised that, oh, no, they're actually playing zone. No crap, Sherlock. And what's crazy is they didn't even cover the big surprise, which was I was expecting him, when he was last in the league, in the coaching tree he came from Robert Saleh and Pete Carroll and all those guys, I was expecting a cover 3 zone heavy defense. And what did he do? And while the media was stuck on, well, they're going to run man, I'm going, no, they'll probably play predominant zone and play cover 3. They actually played cover 6 and cover 9 and a little bit of cover 7 as well. So with cover 6,
zone heavy, like we had anticipated.
Bingo. So with cover 6,
most teams in the NFL, right? Most teams in the NFL generally nowadays are playing predominantly zone.
Right. And if you're wondering what is cover 6 is half the field is cover 4, the other half is cover 2. And we played a lot of Tampa 2 as well. Matter of fact, I think I've got the graphic here, Tim. Let's see.
Look at that.
Yeah, here we go. So this
Here's
is
the graphic.
Yeah, here's the percentage that the Packers played last year. Yeah, boy, they were going to come out and play a bunch of man coverage, right? We played cover one man 16% of the time and cover 0 3% of the time. All right. And you can see that was the bottom third of the league in terms of percentages there. We played cover two man 0% of the time, less than 1%. Now look at what we ran the most. Cover three, 33% of the time. I expected that to be in the 40s, maybe even the 50s personally, but it was only at 33. Why? Because we ran cover two at 25%, cover four at 9%, and cover six at 12%. So, and keep in mind that cover two, the reason it's in the dark blue, we actually ran a whole bunch of what we call Tampa two. If you guys don't know what Tampa two is, it's essentially a cover three defense. It's your Mike backer has got a mid read. And what it basically means is he's reading the two. He's either reading the 2 or the 3 receiver from the outside in, the 2 or the 3. He's reading to cover the seam. So if the 2 or the 3 goes vert, whether it's a trips or a dub set, he's responsible to turn his into a deep middle third zone.
Yep.
So
it may explain the Packers' love affair with Quay Walker a little bit, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Quay is that dude in Tampa 2 coverage.
He is. You're not going to find very many Mike backers in the league that can run vertically, cover vertically, as well as Quay Walker. That's his bread and butter. That's what he does the best. Underneath, reading and recognizing, not so much. Even playing the ball in coverage, not good. But he's just got that 6'4" frame and that elite speed at the Mike backer position to be able to get back there and cover that seam. Now, Edgerrin Cooper did it. If you guys remember the play that Christian Kirk got hurt on, perfect example. You'll see, I think it was Christian Kirk, if I remember correctly. They sent him on a vertical route, like a skinny post down the seam. Edgerrin Cooper flipped his hips, ran stride for stride, broke it up, and hurt him on the play as well. So Edgerrin Cooper can do it as well. So that's kind of and again, like, why wasn't I hung up on cornerbacks last year or this year in the draft? And like, we got to go out and get a bunch of corners. Is because when you look at the EPA per dropback this year, it was minus 0.02, which, if I'm looking at this correctly, made them tied for third best in the entire league in EPA per dropback, which to me is a very solid metric for determining how well your coverage played, that year. And now people say, well, yeah, but what if we don't have Jair? We didn't have Jair a good chunk of the year last year, so I'm not overly concerned about it, although I do want Jair back. So anyway, just a little look at the coverage there. All right, that's going to do it for